Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about another RX-7 topic. Now, there are a couple terms that are thrown around a lot. FB, SA, FC, FD. And this video is just going to be clarifying what that all means if you're either looking to buy an RX-7 or you just want to know more about RX-7s in general. That's what this video is for. So let's jump right into it. Now before I get into it, I want you guys to leave a comment of what your favorite generation of RX-7 is. I'll get into it, but of course my favorite generation has to be the FB because I own one and that's what Rose is, so gotta love it. And for this video, we will be talking about the Mazda Rx7, which was made from 1978 to 2002. So the Mazda Rx7 is broken down into three different generations. The first generation being the SA and FB generation, the second generation is FC, and the third generation is FD. Now, you might be thinking, what does FD stand for? What does FB stand for? And really, it doesn't really stand for anything except for the fact that it's written on all the VIN numbers. Every car in the world has a different VIN number, but the first few numbers of the VIN are usually the same throughout that model. So all of the second gen RX-7s start off with FC. All the third generation RX-7s, their VIN number starts with FD. It's just a way for the manufacturer to keep track of what kind of generation the car is and all these different things. It's just a way to categorize the car. So let's get into it. So from 1978 to 1980, the RX-7 was known as the SA. It has SA at the start of its VIN number, actually SA22C. All of the VIN numbers had. And basically that was the first RX-7 to ever hit the streets. It had a 12A carbureted motor. You could get it in a 5-speed manual or 4-speed manual, and was the first real rotary sports car to hit the market. Now, in 1981 through 1985 was known as the FB generation, and really the SAs and FBs are pretty much the same. The SAs had different front bumpers and rear taillights. The interiors were different, but other than that, they were at the core the same car. 99% of the parts from an SA and FB will cross over with each other. So really, the SA and FB make up the first generation. So the FB was from 81 to 85, and it still had the 12A motor, but in 1983, there was a 13B option, which we'll get into that a little bit later in the video. From 1986 to 1991 was the FC generation, and this was a completely remodeled RX-7. No more 12As, it was only fuel-injected 13Bs, and there was even a 13B turbo option. And again, the car looks completely different than the FB, so they're hard to mix up. To an untrained eye, I could see it, but otherwise they look very different. The FC was about 1,000 pounds heavier, had more safety options towards the end of its run. They had airbags. The FB never had airbags. Things like that. And then from 1992 to 2002 was the FD generation. This is the generation that everyone is familiar with, the Fast and Furious generation, if you will, that sort of thing. It's the most popular, although they made the least amount of FDs. I think they made something around 86,000 FDs. It is the most popular generation of RX-7. And that came with a 13B twin turbo known as the 13B REW engine. So along with the SA, FB, FC, FDs, there's also series. It's another way to kind of verify what kind of RX-7 you have. Now, I've made a video in the past called why I think a Series 4 RX-7 is better than a Series 5, but we're going to be talking about all of the series. So Series 1 of the RX-7 was the SA. It had that 12A carbureted motor. Like I said, you could get a 5-speed or 4-speed manual. You could also get an automatic option. It had the chunky bumpers, the taillights were different, and the interior was different than the FB. So that made up the Series 1. It was the first ever series of the RX-7. Then came Series 2 and 3. So Series 2 was 1981 to 1983. With that, you got the updated FB body style, different bumpers, different interior, but you still only got that 12A option, the 12A carbureted motor. Series 3 was from 1984 and 1985. Now, that's actually what I have. I know you can't see it, but right next to me is my FB. It's an 85. And with that, it still had the 12A motor, but you could get a 13B option in the GSL SE trim package, which if you guys are interested in first generation trim packages, what S, GS, GSL means, I'll leave a link at the end of the video, and down below I made a video about all the different trims. Then Series 4 and 5 were of the FC. Series 4 had different taillights. The motor made about 500 less RPM, or the red line was 500 less. It was at 7,000. Series 5 had a 7,500 RPM red line, which is pretty neat. Again, the taillights are different. A lot of people swapped S5 taillights onto S4 RX-7s, just a preference, and most of the S4s were 4-lug bolt pattern on the wheels instead of 5-lug with the S5. Although the RX-7 Turbo 2 was also offered in Series 4 and Series 5, people tend to like the Series 5 Turbo 2 better. It's a little bit newer, a little bit more features, that sort of thing. And then Series 6, 7, and 8 were of the 3rd generation RX-7. So Series 6 was obviously the first series for the FD RX-7, the 3rd generation. And that added, obviously, the completely new body style, but also the 13B REW, which is a twin-turboed RX-7 motor. It's a twin-turbo 13B. Between 6 and 7, Series 6 and 7, there weren't many changes, but the 7th series of RX-7 was the last series offered here in America. So if you're looking to buy an RX-7 here and it's listed as a Series 8, odds are it's not actually a Series 8, as the Series 8s only came in right-hand drive. And the Series 8 was made from 99 to 2002, again, only sold in Japan, and there were a bunch of special editions. There's the Spirit A, Spirit B, Spirit C, the Bathurst, I think that's how you say it. I'm not exactly sure, but there's a bunch of special editions. But again, we didn't get that version here in the US. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. I hope it was informative. If you want to add anything else to the conversation, please leave it in the comment section down below. But again, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys. There goes a sight from my soul.